Friday interview. And today I'm so pleased to have Fabiola CLEOFA with me. See how clever I am? And I'm only clever about getting around names because we can laugh and I can ask. And Claviola. There we go, Fabiola. We have met from across the world.
That's
Where are you from, Fabiola?
well, I am from Curacao. That is a small part of Dutch Caribbean, and indeed, it is a small island in the um, Caribbean Sea off the coast of South America.
And when you say, Dutch Caribbean, I'm thinking, oh, oh. And then you explain that, yeah, the Dutch settled us or took us over or whatever all of this colonization did to the whole friggin' world. I didn't say that. Bleep. The whole world. I ended up with the British Commonwealth, and my great 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 grandpa came from England, and you ended up with the Dutch. And so, just like we say the British Commonwealth, you would then say the Dutch Kingdom. You're using the word kingdom.
That's true.
Really? Tell us a
Yes,
little more about that because I never would have thought of it because my brain is Commonwealth.
indeed. Netherlands is in Europe, and in the 1800s, they were exploring Europe because they were
Your sound is
crusaders.
breaking. Come a little closer to your speaker.
Okay,
Yep, that's good.
yes, this is better.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so they have been exploring the world and they ended up in the Caribbean, and there's where they settled. And we became part of the Dutch kingdom. But interestingly, we are connected, as I saw that even being in the British Kingdom or Commonwealth, Canada has been opening up for the royal of the Netherlands during the World War II. And actually, one of the queens were born there in Canada. And that's the pride that we have. And we met back in Toastmaster as we are now talking.
Wow. I wish the sound was a little better. It was kind of coming in and out, in and out, in and out. So I don't know whether you have something that's moving as your hands move. But yes, it is. It's beautiful to see how we are interconnected because you're speaking of Holland, the Netherlands properly. Here in Canada, we tend to call it Holland. But I know when the Canadians go and visit in Holland, in the Netherlands, they celebrate us because of the war where we liberated. So there's a very tight connection between the Dutch people and the Canadian people. And that's interesting that you're bringing in Canada as part of that uh, open dialogue as well, because you are down in the Dutch Caribbean and I'm in Canada near Toronto. Now, just for our listeners, if you ever wonder why on earth I have the gift of gab, which is besides just the gift of gab, but you think so well on your feet, they'll say, Sandra, or you have such broad topics you can talk about. Well, when I got to meet Fabiola, it was all through Toastmasters. And so I titled it today Toastmasters Supreme because Toastmasters is all over the world. Fabiola, you've been a director and all kinds of titles that I haven't been within the Toastmaster organization. You probably know better just how big it is, how many clubs there are, and how many members there are. And it can be anywhere in the world. It's beautiful. Can you tell us a little of that background?
Yes, indeed. Well, first of all, let me just go a step back, talking about being in the Caribbean and being in the Dutch Kingdom. We are actually a small island that most of us speak four languages because of our history. Our
Four?
yes, four basically. Some they speak six like nothing, but I can speak four. And the reason why we are so diverse in languages is because our native language is Papiamento. And papiamento is influenced by the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Spaniards, and even the English that has been in our country in Curacao and the islands that belong to the Dutch in the Caribbean, that they have influenced this language. And because of that, we have our native language, Papiamento. We communicate very well with the Dutch, which is also where our instruction language for our education is, because it's official. And then we have the Spanish that we communicate with, and naturally the English. And for me, Toastmasters has helped me to jump more at ease from one language to the other. So
Wow.
I was a little bit afraid to take on the higher roles in those teams.
That's
Understand?
amazing. That's amazing. And I know for myself, even though I only speak English, I did take French, but that was decades ago in high school. And I've visited to Honduras and Haiti where they have Spanish and Peru. So I would take a quick little course before I went, but it doesn't stick because I have no place to speak it. But what you're saying is maybe I should look up a Spanish club. Oh,
Yes, it will help because that is what has helped me to navigate between the languages. Because in Toastmaster, one, you have to perfect your thinking and your speaking, and you get feedback, and that will help you to, even though most of us, we do know a little bit of other languages, but we are afraid to speak. But because we are in Toastmaster, we can navigate to maybe a bilingual speaking club. And because the family of Toastmaster, we know how to help each other, coach each other. That has helped also and will help you if you want to maybe just get a little bit more uh, training or practice, not training, practice in using another language.
wow, that's beautiful. I mean, there's just an insight for me right off the top. And that's why I'm really enjoying. I know I'm not doing a normal interview, and I don't plan to ever do anything normal because I ain't normal. You might have caught up on that. But I really enjoy the surprises that come out of just in conversation as long as we know where we're heading. And today it's about Toastmasters. The the beautiful thing is I've traveled a fair amount, and I know you have too. I have attended physical meetings in China and India and Greece and Peru. And the only reason I didn't visit other ones is I didn't think about to do that before I went on my travels.
Okay.
And of course, next year I want to go back to Uganda, where I was when the pandemic was declared. I got stranded there a bit. But now we have members in our Leadership Speak Club, which is all over the world, 16 countries in this one club, which is where you and I met. It's
Wow.
mind blowing. And one of the clubs comes, or representatives come from Uganda. So therefore, I've been over in Uganda virtually helping with different roles in their Toastmaster club. But the magic of being able to meet all these different diverse cultures is amazing. And you and I, being a bit of gift of gab, both of us,
Yes,
reach out to people, and I'm getting to know. I mean, that's how you and I have met. We've reached out even within the club to know more.
correct.
How has that worked for you, Fabiola, in general?
It has helped me a lot with the way I see other cultures and to also interpret the way that I speak sometimes or I think. Two examples that I want to share is I have visited Holland and it was my first visit in 2010. So I decided I'm going to visit the Toastmasters Club. Now I speak Dutch, but I have never been in Holland in because when you immerse in the language, it's total different. So I'm going to the Toastmaster meeting, and one of the roles in Toastmasters is to listen to filler words. So I took the courage to take on the role of accounter at Steps Club. So one of the first things they told me, our culture, actually, after most of the time, we do have that's their way of talking. It's not a filler word for them the way that we see it in Toastmaster, that we are thinking. It is just their way. The same thing as in Canada. I have been talking and with people, and I know that it is also their way of talking that they put. I'm not sure if I pronounce correctly, but they have this tradition of a. So when you are doing that role in Toastmaster, you need to place yourself also in their culture and to see, is that really a filler word or is it distracting for them? For them, it's natural. In my native language, if I start doing those filler words, people will pick it up immediately because it's not natural for us. And those are the little things that I have been picking up, visiting other cultures around the world that really enriches me and put me to see some things from another perspective.
I love that. When I was in Greece, they had the English version meeting, and then I went back the following week when they had it all in Greek, and they said, "Oh, but we'll be doing in Greek," and they were trying to babysit us because I'm saying us because there were 3 or 4 of us that kind of all went together, and I said, "Don't babysit us. I want to experience the meeting in Greek." Period. So for the most part, that's what they did. And interesting, the first week I was there, they asked me if I would evaluate a speaker. So that was great. Plus, I did a table topic. I mean, when you're there visiting, people want to see what you got there for an experience from another country. So I did a table topic, and then I was evaluating one of the speakers. And then they got the Greek evaluation because they didn't all speak English well enough. So they had 2 evaluators. The next week when I went back, the fellow that was speaking asked me to evaluate because I would talk more about what I was seeing even while they were in Greek and what the tone was. I had a sense of what they were going into, but it was really a challenge for me and an interesting result for them, for this foreigner that couldn't understand the language to give an evaluation. And it was such fun. It was
It
such
is.
fun. And when we just jump into all these different cultures and have fun, you don't care if I have to ask you, how do I say your name? Fabiola is pretty much the way I see it. But CLEOFA, I wasn't sure. I could have been saying CLEOFA, and you would have just chuckled and laughed and corrected me because
Yes.
we're allowed to do that when we're of an intention of meeting another culture. We don't get all wrapped up in it.
Mm-mm.
We just gently make the correction and we have a laugh, and then you try and say my name. Well, yeah, we're all in the soup together. And that is to me the joy and the energy that comes by getting to know other cultures. It has
Correct.
been such a life changer for me. Where the farming community where I grew up, we had a lot of Dutch people.
Hmm.
Well, they looked the same. They're all white. They had a little bit
Yeah.
of accents and so on. So I was never exposed to colored people. I really wasn't. We had the Chinese fellow that owned the store in a little town where that was our Saturday night out. We got to go to Frankfurt with 1,200 people. Like that was our night out, and Dad would go and talk to the Chinese fellow. We
Hmm.
didn't know any different. It was the China man, the China
Yeah.
man.
Yes.
Well, to say Chinaman is an absolute insult, but we weren't doing it as an insult. And I had somebody go off on a rant for me, and I said, "What am I supposed to say? You're supposed to say Chinese." Oh, okay. to get all wrapped up in it and angry, it doesn't prove anything.
No.
So 18 years ago, I sponsored a family from Ethiopia. And first Black family I had really had the privilege of meeting. And we fell in love with each other, and I'm their mom here. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have changed so much for me, and I for them. And I just hope that between us, we are opening up people's minds to culture and celebration of diversity. I
Correct.
could stop and not be speaking. In case people wonder how we got into this gift of gab, how long have you been in Toastmasters, Miss Fabiola?
Oh, so 30 years going on?
And now, are you a slow learner or you just like it?
Well, I have learned so much in Toastmaster as and I continue to learn each time as I at this point of, oh, I've seen it all or I've learned all. Even joining leadership speak was for me at the point where I see potential of gaining much more knowledge. So yes, I'm going to join. No, I'm still learning and I think I'm a fast learner. Yes,
And isn't it exciting? I've been 30 years too, so you're not a slow learner, or both of us are slow learners. I think
exactly.
I think both of us are just curious, and we just like to, what's next? What's next? What's next? You and I just got off of a debating club meeting. I was the newbie, and Baran said, Sandra, you're always, he didn't say you're always saying you have to experiment and learn Toastmasters. So, but he used it on me because that's what I always say. This is where we learn. He said,
Yeah.
Sandra, you need to be in the debate. This is where we learn.
Oh, okay.
And you came back on with, you can do it, Sandra. You can do it.
because I needed someone to accompany me. I have been organizing debates, and I can judge. I can see what points to use, but I have not been in the front to being the debater because it takes another set of skills to do that. So I was challenging myself, so I needed somebody to accompany me. So I said, Sandra, come on, yes, you can do it. We can do it together.
So you cajoled me.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
fun thing about that, I got laughing just in the, because we do on WhatsApp. So we get this thread of conversation going back and forth in this little debaters club while we're organizing. And I'm holding my head and thinking, what have I got myself into? And then
That's
it got moving along and moving along and moving along. Okay, I just have to talk for 3 minutes and then shut up. And then, the fun thing was Baran. Now, Baran, he's the youngest member. He's 26, I think, from Uganda. So
mm,
our club is really diverse. Here we've
yeah.
got Canada, Uganda, the Caribbean, and India was there. I forget which other
And
country.
all ages.
All in this little, yeah, all ages. It was so much fun. And so in putting this together, they came out with Namibia. Hannah was there from Namibia doing the timing. When they came out with it all, at the end, I kept saying, what's next? What's next? And Baran says, on behalf of AI, artificial intelligence, here's the quick layout on the debate process. And I thought, well, that's brilliant. What am I supposed to speak of as the opening negative speaker? So I thought, if he can do it, I can do it. So I went in on AI, put in all my little parameters, and came out with this lovely little speech, which, of
Yes.
course, that's not the one I used, but it was enough of a guide for me to, okay, now it's mine. And who would have
Yeah,
thought?
we need that guide because us being gappers, we can talk and talk and talk. But if we can get some guys, we will try to, put ourselves in that track. So yes, it was a good thing.
And I love that we're both of a generation where we can laugh at each other and with each other. And you keep amazing me with your computer and tech skills. And but it doesn't matter. Everybody just drags me along. I just think I've learned something and something else comes up that, oh, I don't know that either. Oh, I got to do that too. But it's
Yeah.
so much fun because you keep hearing about AI, artificial intelligence, chat GPT, and now I've got another one that's called Gigi, was Glow. But just to jump in and mess around and experiment. But that comes from meeting people that are not afraid to step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
that's
going to
true.
be at the meeting tomorrow morning on Leadership Speak.
I may drop in because I have another commitment. Um, but
I'm
yes,
speaking. I'm speaker number 2.
okay. Probably I can start, but then I will need to leave. I was asked to be the grammarian, but because I knew that I would not be able to stay the whole meeting, I declined that for the time being.
So it is fun. I think we're going to wind this up here. I think we've covered everything that we put in our little chat organization. Fabiola, thank you so much for being here. I hope that this helps people ask either one of us. Oh, shoot, I forgot to tell you, you could put that in on your source, but you'll be able to share this over to your own pages as well
Ah, okay, great,
because
nice.
it's live, so it's there. And once I close it out, you can just go to Coach Sandra, Compassionate Queen of Straight Talk, do the share button, and put it over onto your own. And
Well,
you're on YouTube as well,
yeah,
and,
wow,
and LinkedIn.
interesting. Will do. It was fun for me also to do this because really it's nice conversing, but in this conversation we do share a lot of things that hopefully is beneficial for others also, and they can be inspired.
I hope so. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. And
Okay,
thank you, everyone. You can do it. You can do it Toastmasters, or you can see me. Take care.
take care.